Hey Bestie, it's Lisa. Welcome or welcome back. Now you know I love using Jenga blocks to craft with, so let's do some fun Christmas crafts with them. I'm going to take 9 of the Jenga blocks and this Hello Autumn sign. Now they have those at the Dollar Tree and they don't have to look like this because we're going to cover it up anyway. So I'm going to take some burnt umber, it's acrylic paint, and I'm just going to cover it up with the brown, and that's just going to be our base. And I'm doing that because I want this to look a little bit like wood grain, and we're going to do this technique where you paint it brown like this and then go all in one direction with the brush, and then with a messy kind of chippy brush I go over it with the white in one direction and it kind of looks like wood. So now we're going to take the 9 Jenga blocks and we're going to paint them all with this burnt umber color as well. These are going to be little reindeer, actually Santa's reindeer. We'll wipe back the paint so it looks more like stain, and we'll do that on both sides of them and the back. I'm going to take a white chalk marker and I'm going to draw little eyes on all of them. Now I'm going to take a little black marker. I'm going to paint some little circles in the eyes just to kind of give them a little more dimension. I needed to switch markers because the one I had wasn't that good. And I'm just going to make like little spots on top of the eyes, like little eyebrows kind of. And then I'll do a big black nose on all of them except one, which I'm going to do red. And that's Rudolph. And then I'll use the white marker and make little smiles on all of them too. I decided not to make them all look different. And then I added a little kind of an upside down C on the top of the nose just to make it look like it had a little shine to him. I'm going to take some pipe cleaners. I'm going to bend them a piece in half, a small piece, and I'm going to hot glue that to the very top of each of these Jenga blocks, or now reindeer. And we're going to start making some little antlers with them. They don't all have to be identical. And then I'm just going to cut 2 little pieces and add them on to the sides to give that antler, a little bit more of a antler look, if you will. And just kind of snip it till it looks right. And I do that to all 9 of the reindeer. I'm going to hot glue them about 3/4 of the way on the little board and then let the top part of the head kind of hang off there. Originally, I thought about writing all their names, but there really wasn't a lot of room and it would have been so small that I almost thought it wasn't worth it. And I think with Rudolph in the middle, you get the idea. So the way I centered them was I did one in the middle, which was Rudolph, one on each end, and then started going between each one to make sure they were evenly spaced. That's usually the easiest way I find to center things on a surface. Instead of getting out a ruler and measuring, it just eyeballing it that way actually works really well. And you can see not all the antlers are identical. I did that on purpose. Added some greenery to the bottom like a swag, and those are greenery pieces I get from Amazon. And then I put some red berries and a couple of really pretty gold sprayed little mini pine cones that were on a garland I had. And then I went and put some of that brown paint over the top where I glued the antlers to cover up the hot glue. And that way you don't notice it. And I think this turned out so cute. It already has a hanger built into the back. And what an easy, fun craft. This would be so fun to do with the kids or grandkids. Let me know what you think. Sometimes it's so hard to find a frame that's just the size you need. So I'm going to make one out of the blocks. I'm going to take 40 blocks and this Mary sign from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to start positioning the blocks around it to create a frame. And then I'll glue them side by side. So for the top and the bottom, I'll start with those and just glue them together. And you can see there, I've got 8 blocks across the top, 8 across the bottom, and 3 on either side that fit underneath in between those blocks. So 22 just for the basic shape of the frame. And we're going to start putting them together. I'm going to use my square ruler to try to keep my angles correct, so that it really is like a nice rectangle. Now we're going to use the rest of the blocks on the back to reinforce some of those seams. I found when you do a project with the blocks that if you don't reinforce the seams on a long or tall project, that they do come apart. And I'm only using hot glue for the purpose of the video. I highly recommend hot glue and wood glue. So here I'm going back over the seams of these blocks on the back side with some more of the Jenga blocks. You see what I did there? We're going to put a piece in each of the corners as well to reinforce those. So I'll just make sure that you can't really see them from the front. You will see a little bit on the inside corner. Do you see that there? But I think that looks actually very pretty. I've got a sawtooth hanger. I'm just going to put it on there and screw it onto the back. And now our frame is completely built. I'm going to use red, green, and white paint. You can use any paint you want. Mine is chalk paint, but yours doesn't have to be. That's just what I had on hand. And I did the M and the R in the green, and I'm going to do the E and the other R in the red. I'm going to paint the little reindeer that signifies the Y in white first. And then I'm going to take this beautiful Christmas napkin that I got a couple years ago at Walmart, and I'm just going to cut a piece, and we're going to Mod Podge that right over the top. So first we're going to paint the Mod Podge on, and we're going to let it dry completely. While it's drying, I'm going to take the white paint and I'm going to paint the whole picture frame, front, back, sides, everything. I just wanted to get that done while the other piece was drying. Now that it dried, I'm going to put my napkin over the top and a piece of parchment paper. I'm going to take my little mini press iron. You can use a regular iron for this too. And I'm just going to go over it until it's definitely stuck. You can check it. And once you do that, it's going to stick perfectly in it. There's no like bubbles or anything. It's going to take a blade and I'm going to go around the edges and I'm going to cut them away. You could also use like a lighter and do it with fire if you feel comfortable, or you could use like a nail file and go around the edges in a downward motion, whatever you prefer. It was a little piece and it had a couple of twists and turns, and I felt like the sharp blade with the point on the end might be the best way, and it worked out just fine. I think it came out really cute. I'm going to spray a clear glaze over the whole thing. And now we are going to figure out how we can attach this inside the frame. I've got this gutter guard. I got it at Lowe's, I think. It was on sale for that whole roll was like 99 cents. So I bought a bunch of it because I thought it looks like chicken wire and I could use this for projects. So I did not have any of my large staples around. I was out of them. So I took some thumbtacks and I just went around each corner and then filled in on the sides and I hammered those in. They're the upholstery kind, so they're pretty heavy duty and it's on there really, really good. It's not going anywhere. So now I put my little Mary sign in there. And I'm just going to turn it over and I'm going to use a couple more thumbtacks and just attach it that way. And it was the perfect way to attach this. I didn't feel like hot glue was going to work and I didn't want to lump a bunch of other glue on there. And look at that. It just fits so well. Now I've got these little pine picks. They're great for fillers. Got them on Amazon. I'm going to cut off the ends. I'm just going to hot glue them to each of the corners. Take a mini pine cone. You know I love those. And put one on each of the pine picks. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but this is just what I wanted to do to finish it off. And I love how it turned out. I think it's so cute, festive, and it was actually a very easy thing to put together. So let me know what you think, and a great way to make a custom size frame with the blocks. For this project, we're going to use 28 of the blocks and some twine. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to set 4 kind of where the corners are right next to each other. And then I'm going to take the next pieces and go over those gaps between the other ones. I did get a little off center as I did this, so it's so hard to get this just right. So you have to be really careful how you place them. So you see how I did that? I just set the 4 down, put 4 on the alternate where they're open. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to keep building to make it as tall as I want. Like I said, it ended up being almost rectangular when I was done. And I went up 4 high from the very, very bottom. And so there's 3 on the pieces between them. I'm going to paint the whole thing with my white paint. And I just used a smaller brush to get into the little nooks and crannies in there. And I just wanted the whole thing to be white. I thought that way it goes with so many different things, no matter what your decor is. Now I'm going to take my twine, and I used a very thin twine. I'm going to glue the end on the inside, and I cut pieces so that I didn't have to worry about fitting the roll in there. And I'm just going to wrap it around about 6 times and just make sure that it lays right next to the strand next to it. And just keep going around till I get it about, just that center area, and then I will hot glue it down and cut off the excess. And I'm going to do that on all 4 of the taller sides. So those are the sides that had the 4 blocks. I thought that gave it such a cute rustic look. I love that. Now, I could leave it just like this if it wasn't for Christmas, but I'm going to go ahead and spruce it up a bit. I'm going to take these pine picks, cut off the metal ends, and I'm going to hot glue them in the gaps on the side that doesn't have the twine. So there's 4 sides that have 2 gaps. We're just going to go ahead and put those in each of those little gap areas. So you see how that filled in? I think that looks so cute. Now on the other areas where the twine is, I'm going to use a couple pieces of Christmas scatter foam from the Dollar Tree. Got a red Santa boot and a gold star, and I'm going to put the gold stars on 2 of the sides and the red Santa boots on the other side. And this was just a perfect idea. That way you get a pop color, the gold star, and it's so cute and festive. And you could put a little tea light candle, not a real one, but I would put a battery operated one in there. I didn't have one handy to show you, but I think you could do that. It would look so cute. Or just put some flowers or Christmas greenery in there. Let me know what you think. For this project, we're going to use 12 of the blocks, and then I've got a little battery-operated tea light, and it kind of flickers. It's super cute. I'm going to make a square, but the way I'm going to make it is with the pieces kind of going inside of each other. So as I turn it around, it just fits nicely inside of each other, and it's an easy way to make a really nice square. I think we all know that the Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree or the Tumbling tower blocks are not all built the same, so it's hard to get things exactly even. So I'm going to make 2 of those squares, and then I'm going to take the 4 remaining pieces and put them on each of the corners to create like a little riser effect. Now I'm just using hot glue, but I would highly recommend that you use hot glue and wood glue. I'm just trying to make my projects a little bit quickly as I make videos. I'm going to put hot glue on the top of each of those pieces, and then I'm going to very carefully set the other piece on top and try to make sure that it's centered exactly the way I need it. Now I'm going to paint the whole thing white. Of course, you can make these any color you want. And if you want, you can make a whole bunch of these, and it's going to be an ornament and give them away. I'm going to take a piece off of the mop head I've got here, and I'm going to create the hanger. So I'm just going to hot glue it into one of the corners at the top of the square. And then I'll figure out how long it needs to be, cut it, and then I'll glue the other part into the opposite corner. And that becomes our hanger for the ornament. And this is so lightweight that those hangers are going to be very secure. Now I'm going to take that little tea light and I'm going to position it, turn it over, and then I'm going to start hot gluing it in there really, really well. Now you can still get to it to turn it on and off, and it would be very easy to remove it if you wanted to heat it up on the bottom with a heat tool or a blow dryer if you needed to change the battery or replace the whole thing. So that'll be really easy. I've got these little pine picks from Amazon. I'm going to cut off the metal ends. And I'm just going to put 4 of them in there as I go around at the base of the little tea light. So I kind of put them in at an angle to the left side. And I just go around and I do that on all 4 of the ends. And this gives it such a pretty festive look. I thought it needed something like a pop of color, so on the top there, I'm going to add a bunch of red berries that I had on a pick. And it's big enough to be able to glue it right there without falling in. So I'll attach it to the corners, the opposite corners of where the hanger was, and just kind of fill in any place I need to. Now, if you see that any of the pieces of the berries get white from being torn apart, just take a red marker and just dab on them, and that takes care of it. And now it looks good as new. What an easy, cute little ornament to make. Isn't that adorable? And it would just help light up your tree even more. That would look cute on a hanging swag as well. Let me know what you think. Ready for more inspiration? Here's another video I think you'll really like. If you click on it, I will see you there. You are truly a blessing to me. Bye!